Alright, so Ragnarok chapter 114. We're picking up right where we left off with Velk, obviously, getting destroyed. He made the grave mistake of leading the last three remaining primordial gods to the village of the Golden people. I say the last three remaining, but we know Izanagi survived somehow, still was never mentioned, and, spoiler alert, these guys' names are still not revealed this chapter. It's pretty interesting nonetheless, and we will get back to the present day with the fight between Kintoki and Odin. Before that though, if you have not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you stay up to date with all the Record of Ragnarok content each month. And drop a like on this video because it helps out the channel, gets more people involved in the Record of Ragnarok community. Shout out to the members, appreciate all the support each month, and away we go. So we see Velk on the ground. It's pretty crazy he didn't die from the initial slash, but he's on the ground and he basically crawls to the edge of this hill. He just sees his village in flames. The editorial note at the beginning says his beloved village engulfed in the flames of war. We see just a mass slaughter taking place. These guys are getting butchered very, very violently. Dudes are losing their heads, getting electrocuted. Like, it's just going on and on. Velk can't move. He's crying. He's saying, "Stop, please stop," reaching out helplessly, thinking to himself, I have to help them. I have to help old man Feldis, because don't forget he's still in the hut as well. The people of Golnir had no chance of resistance. Against the overwhelming power of the primordial gods, they were eliminated one after another. These three dudes, aura farming, the bat guys zeroing in on people. He goes over towards Feldis' hut. He sees the number two, the guy that was supposed to be the successor. Saga ends up saying the primordial gods, you, the Jotunspiegel. He has no idea what actually transpired. He doesn't know Velk is the reason the barrier came down, but he just knows they're cooked. He's looking at the bat guy with tears in his eyes. He's like, This is your final act against those who refuse to follow your will, but you keep it all hidden from the world. You're no different from those Yggdrasil monsters." But as he's saying this, he is crunched violently, decapitated, no diff, just walked down, man. And bad guy just walks right past him, doesn't even give him a word, goes into Feldis' hut, and Feldis is cracking, fading away just like the Ragnarok participants into nothingness, heading off to Nifl. Bat guy says, "That's right, your life was being used to wall off the village. So when the wall was destroyed, it's only natural your life would end. Better for you not to see this tragedy. A blessing in disguise, perhaps, Feldis." Feldis fades away. We see the barren wasteland where the village used to be, and the three primordials group up. They're like, "Is it over?" Another one says, "Yes, seems Feldis was the last direct disciple of Golnir. There's no trace of life in the surrounding area. There really is nobody left." The Egyptian primordial says, "Then let us finish up with the last embers of our own lives. We erase the final vestiges of this unwanted history." They combine their forces all into one big, huge attack that looks actually very similar to Gleipnir. Their bodies start cracking. They're clearly sacrificing themselves. They say, "People of Golnir, forgive us. With this, our fight is finally over." Freezorn, cleansing inferno. They dropped a nuke on the village, or what was remaining of the village, wiped everything off the map. Huge crater, looks like a meteor dropped. And Egypt guy says, "All of it gone. All that remains is us." Bat guy says, "With this, we can join the others without fear, without worry," meaning the other primordials that died. They can fade away and lose their lives at peace. But then, all of a sudden, they feel a trace of life. The guy that looks like Tozen says, "A trace of life somewhere?" Egypt guy says, "What?" And then they see the sparkle, and it is, of course, Velk. He's apparently being protected by this invention of Golnir, although we had no idea about it. I'm gonna assume it was the necklace Feldis gave him that protected him, which was called gun gear. No confirmation on that, but that's the only thing that makes any sense to me. Otherwise, I don't know how some random invention made its way to him in that moment and resurrected him in that moment. And apparently he died from his initial wound because they didn't sense any life before dropping the nuke, and then they sensed life after. So he died, then was resurrected and protected. So that invention somehow has like a will of its own, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it'll be explored later, but like, this shit is pretty crazy, I'm not gonna lie to you. But he's being protected. It was apparently powerful enough to withstand the massive attack, which is crazy. And Egypt guy says, that brat, why is he still alive? The light protected him from Freezorn and resurrected him. Is that one of Golnir's inventions? They start rushing over to him. They're like, we must finish him off. But conveniently, right as they rush over to him, their bodies wither away. Egypt guy says, what is this? We come all this way for our strength to fade here? We erred. Comrades, gods, we apologize. Those which were meant to disappear, one remains. And this remainder, which should have never been, shall surely rear its head in the future. He wakes up. He says, what was that? And then he sees his necklace that protected him. He says, everyone, what happened? Don't forget his necklace is called Gungear. I figured it all out. Outside, there's nobody fighting anymore. There's nothing to be scared of. So we can all go outside. I wanted to tell all those people. The old man, he was going to be free. And as he's saying this, he's obviously realizing that, all these people are gone. He's crying, bawling, but this is a coping mechanism for him. That's all I wanted to tell them. So why? And then he just screams as he sees the massive crater in the ground. The narrator says, after that, Velk traveled throughout Valhalla whilst carrying his heavy sins within his heart. Day after day, in order to make Felda's wish come true, he told people the truth of Golnir and the erased history. And he never stopped preaching about it, the tragedy of the people of Golnir. We see him in the streets, people are walking by him, he's screaming, annihilated by the primordial gods. Someone please believe me, the primordial gods kept the truth hidden from all of you. In order to tell you about Yggdrasil, we people of Golnir have always, and nobody is listening to him. People are starting to throw rocks at him. Somebody's literally saying, shut the fuck up already, you shitty brat. Damn eyesore, quit spouting nonsense and garbage fairy tales. Where do you even come from? And the narrator goes on to say, but despite Velk's best efforts, nobody believed him. Ridiculed and shunned by society, they refused to believe the true history. They refused to believe in his whole people who were massacred to the very last person. And thus Velk began roaming in eternal solitude. His heart grew hollow and empty, and yet he never gave up. Right, so this does make sense. It's just some random kid running through the village. It's like almost like the boy who cried wolf. They have no merit, no reason to believe this kid. Their minds were wiped, and this would sound like complete nonsense to these people. But it must be super frustrating for Velk growing up, dealing with this, knowing that it was all his fault. So he begins walking around, basically mumbling to himself, please don't run from the truth. Do not fear the truth. Have courage. That is how we create the future. There's these two girls playing in this village, and they're just like having a joyous time, and then Velk just like randomly collapses right in front of them. Still continuing with his message, to save our world, everyone, their lives, I have to tell you all their wish, our history. And the two girls are like, what's he saying? What god are you? Where are you from? We can't feel any divinity from you. Is he someone from the outskirts who failed to become a real god? Velk chuckles a little bit, struggles back to his feet, and the narrator says, more than anything else, what truly cut him to the core was those peaceful days, those smiling faces, all of it never existed. You're saying none of it was real. So he's reached the point where he's not even sad anymore. He's not angry. He's now like going completely insane. Like the madness is taking over him. He starts belting out laughter, smile of insanity. His deep despair turned into a dark ambition. It looks as if he made his way back to where the village was, and he's bawling but still laughing uncontrollably. And the narrator says that young pure god could not bear the thought that his people's whole history, their whole existence, was erased entirely. As he looks down at the crater, he says, then I might as well throw it all away. My name, my past, I'll throw it all away. And he clenches the necklace. And he said, I am the Lord of Madness. I am the Lord of Rage. This world, I'll erase all of it. And he turns his necklace into Gungear. No explanation as to how this happened, but it happened. No idea if this is what Feldus intended with this. What even is this thing? Maybe it'll be revealed one day. Maybe they'll say, hey, the necklace not only is Gungear, but I guess he can turn into whatever he needs at the moment, I guess, because it saved him from the explosion. If that is the case, we have to kind of piece it together ourselves because we're not being told this information. But he strikes down Gungear into the dirt and he says, you ignorant fools, just wait. When the time is right, you will all know the truth. The narrator says, from that day on, this god who cast off his name ceased to speak of the people of Golnir. of the truth, and he began his journey as a simple, nameless god. So he finally gave up, but he wasn't giving up in the long run. The true history which the primordial gods hid out of fear, and the erasure of knowledge that troubled Gungnir so much, a journey to return the world to nothingness, these gave the nameless god strength. And at the end of it all, the knowledge he obtained and the books he read, he discovered the intact book of Gungnir. And then he encountered the magic sword Graham. This is obviously what we saw a couple chapters back, and when Siegfried was explaining things, it was as if he was guided by something. The nameless god pulling the threads of fate became the supreme god known by all, Odin. For the sake of understanding the face of countless possibilities, I hereby inscribe both the sealing process as well as the dissolution method. Gungnir, he entrusted it all to the future. Yes, this world's destruction is inevitable. Odin looks sinister here. This seems to insinuate, was primordial Odin somehow pulling these strings? Did he somehow corrupt Odin? Does this lead to a road of redemption for Velk? Is it possible? We'll see. We cut back to the arena now. Prime Odin right here. He says to Kintoki, "It is already too late to stop me." Kintoki doesn't say anything, clutches onto his axe, and Odin starts singing his attacking him once more. Avoiding the fury of the storms, the waves shall guard mine path. O guiding stars above, guide me to the harbor. O sea, I take thine wind within mine spear. He loads back this attack, aura emanating all around, and the sound vibrations going out. Ninth cursed him, whirling shadow wind fang. He launches the spear straight toward Kintoki, but Kintoki reacts to it, sends out his axe to block it, and he deflects it upwards. But as this is all happening, Heimdall's like, Lord Odin hurls Gungnir like a javelin. As Kintoki deflects it, he's thinking to himself, so heavy and fast. But like I said, with some pretty strenuous effort, he is able to knock Gungnir up into the sky with a battle scream. Heimdall says Kintoki launches it in the air. He then takes this moment to capitalize and attack Odin while unarmed, rushes him down with his axe, prepares to strike him down. Looks like Odin may be cooked, but right at that moment, Gungnir whirls around, flips up, comes back, and strikes Kintoki straight through the back. But it does only take off like a piece of his side, so it's kind of similar to like what happened in the Susanoo Akita fight. This really could have just went right through his spine, but it goes through the side of him, it looks like. But narration says the magic spear Gungnir has pierced right through socket of Kintoki. The magic spear Gungnir, once thrust, there is nothing it cannot pierce, and once thrown, there is no target it will miss. Truly the greatest, most divine, supreme weapon from the Prose Edda. So it's kind of like Yondu's arrow, or like a boomerang. Kind of unclear if Odin can completely control it. I mean, it kind of looks like that here, because as soon as, it goes through Kintoki, it doesn't just rush back to him in that direct pattern. Odin kind of extends his hand, and then Gungnir flies back to his hand. He grabs onto it. He says, "Forgive me, brat. It is time for me to bring all of history to its end." With the final editorial note saying the end of the world. Definitely glad we're back to the fight. I'm way more interested in these two fighting and the current iteration of Odin, more so than whatever happened in that backstory. Because to me, it's like, hey, if you don't really care enough to even give the people that are acting names, why should I really care? It serves its purpose. It tells us, the reasoning behind Velk, and I think part of it, the idea of it is good. It's a good idea. Like, Velk's the last surviving member of these people, kind of sympathetic. Like, it's his fault. He was just a kid. He didn't know any better, and all he wanted to do is help his people and help the world. And now this is how he ended up, and people rejected him. But it's just like the execution of it is just like, bro, that was ass. Being real. But anyway, did you guys enjoy it? Maybe you did. Maybe you disagree with me. And are you excited for this fight? And who do you think will win? Let me know all that in the comments. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.